They have done it more times than you can imagine. We are in the famous Bourbon Street district. It just reopened to the public yesterday, and it was a bustling area with tourists enjoying everything the city has to offer, but with some added security. Now, this hydraulic steel ramp and barriers are meant to stop vehicles from getting onto Bourbon Street, something that officials say could have prevented the terrorists from getting onto the street. Hundreds of police officers roam the area, and just about a mile away from here, thousands of college football fans poured into the Superdome for the Sugar Bowl that was delayed by a day. Inside the dome, well, fans observed a moment of silence for the victims ahead of kickoff. We were there, and you could feel the real sense of community among those attending, an energetic jubilation to help heal in the wake of tragedy and return to normalcy. Omar Villafranca is on Bourbon Street. He has the latest on the investigation. Omar, good morning.
Good morning. The FBI received more than 400 tips, but investigators still want to talk to people who knew the suspect. The crime scene here in the French Quarter has been cleared, but the investigation is far from over. The FBI now says the perpetrator of the ISIS-inspired attack on Bourbon Street likely acted alone, despite earlier reports he may have had help.
This was an act of terrorism. It was premeditated and an evil act.
According to federal investigators, Shamsuddin Jabbar rented the Ford F-150 Lightning used in the attack via the Turo app in Houston, Texas on December 30th. He then drove it to New Orleans on New Year's Eve. The FBI says he posted 5 videos to social media in the hours before the murders, including one claiming that he had joined ISIS prior to the summer.
Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote.
The FBI released these new surveillance images showing improvised explosive devices in coolers that they say the killer planted in the French Quarter shortly before the attack. On Thursday, President Biden revealed Jabbar also had a remote detonator for the planted IEDs. Just after 3 a.m. New Year's Day, Jabbar, a U.S. Army veteran who law enforcement sources say was armed with an AR-15 style weapon and a handgun, began his rampage.
I'm devastated, honestly. I'm shocked.
Jabbar's younger brother, Abdur Rahim, who requested that we hide his face, says Shamsuddin had recently gone through an expensive divorce and their father had suffered a stroke in 2023. He noticed his brother becoming more outwardly religious, but said he saw nothing to suggest Jabbar was being radicalized.
He's been a practicing Muslim since he was a kid and everything, and I think he took a step away from the religion at some point in his life, and then he came back into it.
Now, let me give you some good news. The 2 officers who were exchanging gunfire with the suspect are now out of the hospital. And here in the French Quarter, it's starting to look and sound like Bourbon Street and slowly starting to feel like the old Bourbon Street again.